Hi everyone, thank you for coming to my Vulnerably Badass YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about Kreeger Museum that I visited in Washington DC. So I think it was 2 Fridays ago or 3 Fridays ago. It's been a while, but it was one Friday when I had my day off and I did my tennis in the morning, and after I ate lunch I was thinking, okay, so what I want to do today, how do I want to spend the half day before I pick up my son or my son comes back from school. And then I thought about, oh, I haven't done artist date for a while or anything artistic. For some of you, you might know that there is a book called Artist's Way. It's a book written for artists, to be how to be creative, keep motivating yourself to be creative. And it talks about many things, but one of the things is like weekly artist date. It's a time that you will have by yourself and do something that inspires you, anything. And it could be just going to a new cafe or reading a book or visiting a museum or watching a movie you wanted to watch or anything. But I think the basic rule is alone, and whatever that inspires you or whatever that, it's not a routine but something that is outside of your daily things. So I was thinking, oh, maybe I want to visit an art museum. But since I didn't have the whole day, but only half day, I was looking for a smaller museum. It doesn't have to be so big like Smithsonian or anything. And I Googled and I found that there is a museum called Kreeger Museum, and it's a museum that this couple built, and it's like a house, and they have their personal collections, and it seemed like collection of modern and contemporary art, including the impressionist. I don't know much about art, but I know that I am more interested in modern art or contemporary after like cubism or surrealism. So when I look at the description, I was like, oh, maybe it's good and it's not too big, so might be a perfect match for me to drive to DC and spend just a short time, enjoy, and come back. So I accessed online, and they were doing the timed entry, and how it works was it was a 50-minute entry. So log on and then you buy a ticket, and it's not so much buying. I think it was donation based. So if you want to make a donation, please make donation. And there was a military discount rate too, so I just followed that, and I made online donation at military rate, and I set the time after lunch, and then I thought about driving 30-40 minute ish to DC, and then 50 minutes at the museum. So it was a nice drive, and I arrived maybe 10 minutes early, and it's a nice building outside, from outside too, and they had a sculpture garden, so I used that 10 minutes to just walk around the sculpture garden, because the garden wasn't really gated or anything. It was open, so rather than just standing outside, I decided to just walk around the garden, and I look at some sculptures, took some pictures, and there was a little wood area and bench. So I thought, oh, I don't know if it's allowed, but like if I had some coffee, it would have been really nice to just sit, So maybe it's a good way for you, if you plan to go, you arrive 30 minutes-ish early with some coffee and sit at the bench and just relax looking at the sculpture and the building. That would have been nice. So after 10 minutes, the door opened, so I went in. They checked, my name and explained that it's 50 minutes. It wasn't too big museum, but it was really nice. The building was very modern. I think it was built in the 60s. Minimalistic, modern building. And there was a grand piano too, in the kind of big hallway by the big glass window. And that space itself, like minimalistic but spacious, with a lot of sunlight, with the big windows and glasses, the space itself was healing. And I felt this quiet excitement. I called it quiet excitement, but the kind of feeling I usually get when I go to museums, art museums, or libraries, or bookstores. I think the excitement is something that I get from going to a quiet but inspiring place. Books inspire me, and art inspire me. So I think those are the places, and that's the feeling I get. But yeah, I really enjoy the quiet excitement. And it was timed entry, so everybody went in and started from the closest art. So I didn't want to just stay with other people worrying about COVID too. So the first thing I did was I went to the basement and started looking at the art in the basement. And yeah, it was really soothing. And because I knew that I had, the museum wasn't too big, and I had 50 minutes, and I knew that I could just go back anytime. So initially I kind of casually look at each, art pieces, and just kind of enjoying which one gives me what kind of vibes or energy, which one I like, which one catches my eye. And it was okay to take picture as long as I wasn't using the flash. So I took some pictures that I recognize who the artist is, and just being happy that I know this artist, because I don't know much about art, but still, like, I can recognize some artists. I'm happy. And I did the first round, and after that I just sat at the chairs or benches and just enjoyed being there, just enjoyed the quiet time. And it was nice that the people, I guess like 10 people-ish were there, but there were different rooms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't exactly remember, but there were several rooms or areas. So I was able to choose the room which had no one. So I could just go to that area or that room and just sit surrounded by nice art pieces and spacious area with a lot of sunlight and absolutely quiet, and just sit there. That was luxurious. And I did that with each room, and just sit. And the fact that I can get away from all the noises or work, worries, anything, but just sit there quietly was so special. So maybe it would have been nicer if I knew more about art, but even for someone who doesn't know much about art, being able to have that time was so special. So I would strongly recommend you, if you have a museum around you, maybe visiting there would be great. And after the 50 minutes was over, I went outside. And going outside, you can stay as long as you want until the museum closes. So it was back door, and then you get out, and there was beautiful water fountain, and also back of the building had some sculpture too, and it was so healing. and I walked around the garden again and enjoyed, and I left. So that place is really nice. You can enjoy the building that man built and the art creative pieces and also the nature. Yeah, so if you just want small getaway um, in your daily lives in DC area, you know, it's a nice healing spot. And after that, I googled again and I felt like coffee, so I looked for a coffee shop around it, and there was I think a coffee shop called Black Coffee, and the rating was good, so I went there and I got a latte and cinnamon apple muffin and sit there again and look at just trees or nature around and journaling. Spent about an hour. Another quiet time, although it was surrounded by other people's noise or cafe noise or, you know, cars, but still it was like alone time. So it was a great way to kind of process that feeling from the museum. So I had a great artist date. So it was an example of artist date. If you live in DC, I recommend you to do that. And if you live somewhere else, you know, find whatever museum that's in your neighborhood or close to your neighborhood and going to a cafe afterwards so that you can enjoy this quiet excitement. So my question to you is, what kind of museums do you have in your neighborhood or around where you live, and when would you like to go? Thank you for coming to my Vulnerably Badass YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time.